Stamford, when I first moved here in 2016, I started going to these concerts that were right here. They were called Alive at Fives. And I remember being at a Third Eye Blind concert, and it was packed. There was probably like 2,000 people in line waiting to get in. There was probably 8,000 people here. And I was curious. I was like, I want to know how this business is run this well, where this many people go on a mini park where there's just a strip of restaurants, and right there is where the stage used to be, and you see some of the best bands in the world. And so the next year I reached out to the people who were in charge of Alive at Five, and I was just like, hey, I'm curious, can I come in and meet with you? And they're like, sure, come on in. So I'm sitting at this round table with Lynn and Annette, and they were starting to get to know my story because they wanted to know how to help. And after we talked for a while, they were like, Brandon, you clearly have an interest in concerts. You clearly have an interest in events. But the only way you're going to learn is if you get your hands dirty. If you put your hands into the water, you put your feet into the water, that's the only way that you're gonna learn. I said, okay, what do you mean? She's like, well, you're gonna have to feel what it's like to set up tents. You're gonna have to feel what it's like to be at the ticket stand. You're gonna have to feel what it's like to be running around talking to the people. She's like, you need to work for us. You need to do an internship for us. I said, okay, I'm in. So I was working a full-time job as in the fitness industry, but I was like, okay, I can figure this out, because it was pretty much 10 concerts. 4 were on Wednesday and then 6 were on Thursday. And so what happened was they were like, you can intern for us. We're gonna put you in touch with the internship director. So I get in touch with the internship director, I have my meeting, and it goes really well. And then I get an email back, and he's like, hey, Brandon, you know, I thought you were awesome, but we have more people than we thought coming back from last year, so we don't have room for you. So I was like, wait, what? I got told to do this internship, and now you're telling me I can't do it. And I was so bummed, but I was like, okay, this isn't clicking, so I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna see if I can work for free. Because to me, it was never about the money. So it was about learning, accumulating the knowledge, seeing how these events were run. So I go into the downtown office, and I was like, hey, is blah, blah, blah there? And the lady at the reception desk says, he's busy right now, but can I take a message? I was like, yeah, I just want to talk to him about interning here. And she's like, okay, well, I'll leave a message. And then I said, I'm just gonna wait here till he's ready. He can take his time. And so I just sat down there, and I waited and I waited and I waited. And then eventually he came out, and he shook my hand. He's like, hey, sorry, you know, we just have too many people coming back. We don't have room for you this year. I said, I totally understand, but it was never about that. I just wanted to learn from you all. And he said, okay, you know, maybe you can come to the least populated concert and you can volunteer that day. I said, yeah, totally understand, but why can't I volunteer every day? He's like, I don't know if you want to do that. I was like, no, I want to do that. He says, okay, show up on Wednesday at, I think it was 12 o'clock. So I show up on Wednesday at 12 o'clock. Meanwhile, everyone else working there showed up 2 hours earlier. And I was like so frustrated that I didn't know to show up 2 hours earlier, but since I was volunteering, I think he told me a later time on purpose. So I was like, all right, well, I'm here. I'm gonna give it my all. So I'm working the concert. We're like lifting fences, lifting tents, running around with the alcohol, making sure the food and beverage is all set up, making sure the tickets are all set up. And it gets to like 9 o'clock at night, and when most volunteers leave, and I didn't even think twice about leaving. I was like, there's a job to be done. I'm gonna stay here, I'm gonna help out. So it gets to about 11 o'clock and they're like, hey Brandon, we're going out to eat at Columbus Park. You wanna come join us at? I was like, sure. So I come join them at Columbus Park, and I'll never forget, Lynn comes up to me after the dinner. She's like, Brandon, you worked your tail off today. We really need you. I'm gonna make sure that you're on the payroll tomorrow. So I ended up working those concerts that summer. And then the next year, I met with my mentor for lunch, and I was like, I think I'm ready to have a concert on my own. And then in 2019, hosted my first concert at Garcia's. And that was just one story of going from point A to point B, but it was one that sticks with me all the time, because you get told no so much in life. In fact, a lot of people tell you no just so you go away. But when you keep showing up, when you keep persisting, a lot of those people who told you no are thankful that you showed up again, because people need help. People want help, especially if you're a good person, especially if you're persistent. And that's one thing that we hope to do with Warm Heart Life, to keep leading by example, that if you really believe in what you're going after, you can do some incredible things.